brothers and friends, to another edition of Get Your Wine Glasses, girl.
You gonna need a lot more wine.
First of all, just a couple of disclaimers before we get started. The first one is the reason why we have our topics each week is, first of all, we want to bring awareness to the topics that we talk about. But not only do we want to bring awareness, we also want to educate, to enlighten, to encourage, and also engage our listeners into conversations that are not always easy topics to discuss.
Like this one.
Absolutely. And lastly, whichever item you decide to partake in this evening, whether it be wine, Niecy, whether it be Fireball, I see you over there.
Yes.
Please drink responsibly.
Party,
And
party.
do not drink and drive. All right, let's get it, ladies.
Okay. So I guess we should introduce ourselves. Somebody said we don't know who you guys are. We watch the show, but nobody says who is. So I am Shalita. I live in Atlanta.
All right.
Not all I'm gonna give you. I'm in IT. I've been doing that for about 20 years, and that's about it. I'm gonna pass it on.
All right.
Okay, my name is Zelda. I'm a hairstylist. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Fort Bragg, go Army!
Okay, everybody, my name is Labricia. They call me Breezy. I'm from Atlanta, and I'm a real estate broker. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, all of you people that are looking for a home, this is the lady that you need to talk to, okay?
She has her own brokerage firm. That's all I want to say. She's modest.
Definitely. And my name is Carla. I am originally from Idabel, Oklahoma. I know y'all haven't heard of that.
Oh, wow.
It's quite all right. I am a women's basketball official, so in order for me to stay neutral, I'm just going to say it like this. Go Tigers! Exactly. You already know what it is, young man.
Our topic tonight, we got stuff flying around here, and you know why? Because we got cotton balls in our hand. And the reason we have cotton balls in our hand is because we're talking about, should college athletes get paid?
Yes.
And we're going to want to know from the audience here, should our highly recruited black athletes start attending these HBCUs? Bring that money to them. So let's talk about it.
So
we have from cotton balls to footballs to basketballs, and they still have our babies by their balls, the kahunas. Okay? So let's get the conversation started. So do you think our college athletes should be getting paid, and why?
Okay. First of all, I'll kind of just start the discussion. I don't know why it's really taken as long as it's taken so far, but now they have passed, in California, they've passed a fair pay to play. So now I think in California only right now, our athletes are going to be getting paid for their talents.
That's because California's fair.
Exactly.
What about the rest of the country?
yes.
I think Georgia, which is where we are now, we're shooting live from Atlanta, Georgia. I think Georgia is in the process of passing one of these laws so that our athletes can get paid. I think it's been really unfair because we have our athletes out here. Really, I mean, who goes to see the owners of the schools or the presidents? Does anybody in here go to see those, or do we go to see our athletes? Okay, yes, okay.
Athletes, do we go to see them old, whoever they are, on the walls that looks like they've been up there since 1918? Or do we go see those athletes and drop? I have to say it, I went to Auburn one time for a school visit with my daughter not a long time ago, but when she was being recruited. And we went to one of the big football games. And them stands was packed. I had never seen that many people before in my life. And all I was thinking about was, that's a lot of money.
Yes, absolutely.
If all those people paid, let's just say $10, I know they paid more.
Right.
But if they all just paid $10, that was a lot of money. Which brings us to the topic of,
I have a lot of friends that their sons play for college ball, and a lot of them, they can't even afford to go see the games. because the travel is so much, and I think if the athletes got paid, then that way the families can go, they can pay for the hotels to stay. So I think they should get paid because they're selling their jerseys and stuff like that. And I know they say, a lot of people say, oh, they know they shouldn't get paid, but I think they should, because they may not make it to the NFL if that's what they want, if that's where they want to go.
So the argument of they should not get paid is because they are on scholarship. Okay, that's cool. They're on scholarship. But let's think about the kids that are not on scholarship. They get to intern, which means they get to make some money and they get to start participating in their degree program.
Yes.
Right? These kids can't get a job. They are not allowed to get a job, which means if they are trying to participate in their degree program, they can't even do it. So they're behind the ball. Yes. So after they graduate, then they got to go out and try to get an internship and all that. So their college is getting paid for. They're not getting enough money for their parents to come and check them out. Right. Didn't a kid in Memphis get in trouble because he borrowed some money for his mother to come and watch him play his first game or something like that?
Yes, he did.
I think
Explain that to me.
That's crazy.
I know.
Well, whoever it was, did he get in trouble or not?
Right.
Did he get in trouble?
I think that's crazy.
Well,
did he get in trouble?
What I do know is this.
Yes.
What I think was really unfair about the situation is this was something that happened several years before this kid even got to college. So my mindset is that why are we still penalizing kids that something that happened years ago before they even got to college?
NCAA.
Yeah, it's basically like you're trying to still control us even before they get to the college level. So it just really makes absolutely no sense to me.
One more statement I need to make. Does everybody know that the NCAA made over $1 billion last year?
Oh yeah, I know they did.
Where the money at? Where the money at?
$1 billion.
Where the money go to? Where the money go to?
Yes.
Somebody tell me.
They say it goes to scholarships, but I don't know a lot of people that don't even have scholarships.
The schools pay for the scholarships. So you're telling me NCAA has given all these schools money for those scholarships for these kids to go?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it looks like we got a lot of participation back there. We got a lot of participation out there, a lot of opinion. We're in a big party.
Yes.
Just in case y'all didn't know, we're in a big party for the college
National
championship playoffs.
Yes.
Okay, what you got, Breezy?
Okay, so Rick, you look like you may have a comment or a question.
Rick, come on over for us.
Come on, Rick! Come on, Rick! No! I know it's controversial! Back here! No, you gotta come back here so we can get you on all these.
Hey, first of all, I think we're gonna need a lot more wine for this conversation.
He said, bring him his drink. Where is that? Okay, what's your name?
What's your name? Rick DuBose.
Rick DuBose is in the
Rick
building.
DuBose.
Private investigator by trade.
Okay. Prime investigator.
I'll find that.
Okay. So, hey, first of all,
I'll find that.
since he's a private investigator, we need for him to investigate why our college athletes are not getting paid.
Okay.
All right, Rick, we're just gonna ask you a couple of questions. So, the first question that we want to ask you is, first of all, do you have any children or kids that are in college and playing football or basketball?
I have to read you. Yes.
Yes, you do. Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience? Has it been easy for you to support your kids while they're in college, or are they on scholarship? How does that work?
My daughter actually is competitive. I got 2 daughters actually.
Okay.
I got 4 daughters actually, but 2 of them are
Sound like Rick got a lot of children, right?
I do what I do. But thank you. But listen.
Okay.
2 of my children are competitive.
Okay.
Cheerleaders, if you will.
Cheerleaders.
So
Okay.
I get that.
That's a sport. That is a sport.
And I understand that. But what we're talking about, let's go back to what you were just
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
talking about on this thing with regards to these athletes.
Yes.
And the thing is that they need to be paid. They should be paid. Their parents should be paid.
Yeah. Now he's stepping up. Anybody else agree that our
say this though. That the thing is that the problem actually is that the parents. Well, I'll take that back. I'm gonna run that back. I'm trying to run this whole thing back. The thing is that it's not a good thing to pay the kids. They should be paid. Not a good thing to pay the kids. And I'm gonna tell you the reason.
Now hold on. Now you just a few minutes ago you said they should be paid.
No, I did.
So we have just straddled the fence now. Which side of the fence is wrong?
There's a lot of people.
Give me this.
We got a lot that don't want to be paid.
Okay, come on.
If you give me, I promise you this.
Okay.
I've thought about this. Yes, they should be paid. It'll kill college football.
It's gonna kill college
It'll
football.
kill college sports.
Okay.
It's
You know how
done.
much money they
And
get,
I'm gonna tell you the
though.
reason
Come on
why.
in.
Okay,
Because
tell
the
us the
thing
reason why.
is
Come on
that
in.
if you do 1 year, then you go into the college portal. After that, if
Okay.
you ain't liking where you at.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? And so therefore, what the use of NFL?
Right. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
All right.
Because the thing is that I'm sitting here and I'm
They
saying,
may not get
oh,
millions.
yeah, you're not getting that, but at the same token, a lot of them ain't getting millions anyway.
Okay, I
They
understand
getting
that.
off of high school cred, a lot of them garbage.
Right, I understand.
And that's the real. They not as good as their grade is coming out there.
Yeah. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So the thing is that you can get a DeAndre Swift type of quarterback. I mean, I'm sorry, running back. You can get a Zachary. Can't remember his name. This joker don't nobody want him.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay.
His name's Zach Thomas.
Okay. All right. Hold that thought.
Nobody wants this cat.
Okay. Hold this thought.
Why?
Hold
They
on,
don't want this
hold on a
cat.
second.
Because
Okay.
he's crazy.
All right. So,
Everybody turn him down. This boy the best running back out there. Everybody wants to give him
hold on for a
something.
second. Hold on for a second. All right, Breezy, what do you have here? Hold on a second. Hold that thought, Rick.
Can I get one of these t-shirts?
Hold on, Rick. Let's go.
Okay. I think Rick has answered the question. I think we have a next person that wants to.
Next person.
Thank you, Rick. We have someone else that wants to.
You ain't gotta leave,
We gotta
but we
keep
gotta
it
listen
going.
to him.
You didn't gotta go home, but you got to get on out here. All right, that was a really good point. We really couldn't tell exactly what Rick wanted. We don't know whether Rick
Yeah, we don't know what
or he didn't want this.
Rick had too much wine.
All right, so what's your name, young man?
My name is Thomas Crawley. We got to tell you what I do for a living. Here's the thing. We have the NCAA,
NCAA.
that's some bullshit right there because they controlling the whole situation. But the problem is because you have so many different sports, every sport doesn't actually earn.
That's correct.
True.
Basketball and
That's true.
football is the true earners.
Yes.
Now they need to figure out a way to make some type of compromise, get some insurance in place, so when these kids go to college, give them everything, they get hurt, and they fall back with something, they get taken care of.
Yeah.
They don't lose their
I like
scholarship.
that.
Right.
I like that.
You know what?
So they don't lose their scholarship
Right.
once they get hurt. They just sent back home. So
Yeah.
it's not so much about the money as much as it, and then also too, as far on the financial part of it, the merchandising. If they're selling your jersey and they're getting billions of dollars for that,
Yeah.
you should get a percentage of
That's
it.
right.
I
agree.
totally agree with that. That's what we're talking about right
But
there.
the problem is there's no fair way to spread it evenly.
Yes.
Because every school does not want the big bucks because they're not on TV.
Correct.
Volleyball don't do as much as basketball and on football, but they're all athletes.
Okay.
That's true.
So they need to figure out a way to get some insurance in place for these kids so that if they're hurt, tear up their knees, ACLs, and all this, that, and other, they got something to fall back on.
Okay. So with that said, those are some really good points there. Okay. So we also talked about our African American athletes attending our HBCUs. I think that now, with all of this money that our colleges are making off of these TV contracts and all of that stuff, I feel like if some of our really good African American athletes would attend some of our HBCUs, then some of that money would be transferred into some of those colleges, which would be a great addition to what we need in our HBCUs.
And I got a point on that is.
Yes.
Point two. The reason why the black kids don't go to those HBCU colleges because those are not the ones that are brandishing the way for them to get to the NFL.
Okay, well let me just elaborate on that. One thing I do know is people are going to come to where the athletes are. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So if our athletes are at HBCUs, trust me, they will find them. Okay. They will find them.
Yeah.
Few in between them.
Right. Okay.
So I'm saying, so like I said, how many kids you got coming out of Alabama every year? Ohio State.
Right.
Those big schools. Those are the programs that got the shoe deals
I understand.
and all the TV revenue, which is creating the big dollar.
But this
But if
is
they
but
went to the
again.
I'm not saying it's right.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's right. But what I'm trying to explain is that's the reason for them to go there.
Okay.
Because they're trying to get to the NFL.
But one thing I do know, again, is if some of these athletes, like the athletes that you're speaking about, if some of these kids go to some of our HBCUs, talent
come back here.
Hey, what they say about cream rising to the top,
There you go.
they gonna find you wherever you are. It doesn't matter whether you're at Ohio State.
We got a couple of more opinions on this right here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, by the way. That's one single last thing. I don't give a damn how good you are. If they can't see you, it's hard for you to get where you're trying
All
to
right,
go.
okay.
I
That's a great
understand.
point there. Okay,
Come on in.
so
Come in, Jane.
what you got, Breezy? What do you
We have
have
another
on that
person. He
comment?
says he's a real estate agent too. What's your name and where do you work?
My name is Roland Render. I'm with Keller Williams Atlanta Plastic in Atlanta.
Okay.
Welcome.
All right. So
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
So tell us about what's your opinion about whether the student athletes should be paid or not? What's your opinion?
And should they go to the HBCUs?
Okay, I feel they should be paid.
Okay, I like that.
And I like the idea about some type of insurance policy, but the fact that what a lot of people don't understand, these kids are given 1 year scholarships. They say they're given a 4 year, but it's a 1 year scholarship. Every year it's renewed.
Right.
So they aren't
that's a good
given a
point.
full
That ain't
ride.
right. That's not right.
Then you have players that are walk-on players that sacrifice their time,
Right.
Their bodies.
their bodies,
Mm-hmm.
their minds to be able to play, and they make the team. And they're not compensated. If they become a key role player, then they may give them a scholarship, give them a stipend. But again, they cannot work during the summer. So when the dining hall closed for the athletes,
They hungry.
which is about 5
That's
or
what I'm
6
saying.
o'clock,
Right.
That's what I'm
These
saying. They
kids
need
are
food.
hungry.
They don't have food.
Right.
these kids can't do anything socially.
Where's that guy at that said he
If
didn't
they
want
want
to
to
pay him?
participate in any fraternities or sororities, they can't unless their families have the money.
Right.
So
Which a lot of
you
them
take
See, they don't
away-
have no food to
And
eat.
the
I
fact
told
that they
you.
have to give so many hours to the college
No
because of their
food.
athletic participation, they cannot participate in a lot of stuff that they matriculate their other students are able to do
Yeah.
in the college setting.
And
Yeah.
So it's a disadvantage.
right.
And I understand all the discrepancies because one may have a school that has more money than another school. But at the end of the day, these kids should be given some type of compensation.
Absolutely.
Because the schools that are making money
They making a lot.
make money off of
money.
these kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
These
right.
conferences are making buku money.
And they're
off
probably
of
going
these
on
kids.
trips, taking a
These two
mystery
teams that are
trips.
playing in this national championship game are going to make millions of dollars.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
how many of those kids are going to see any of that?
They won't see
Yeah.
any. All right. Those are some
What you
really
think
good
about
points.
the HBCU?
Now, I feel that if the thing about it is, you go back in the 70s, 80s, before 60s, 60s, 70s, 80s,
Okay.
when the NFL.
Roland's kind of
Yeah,
telling his
yeah.
age now, isn't he?
That's all right. That's all right. I am a seasoned, what you call flying ageless. So hey, I'm a seasoned young man. But you look back over where these athletes were coming from, they're coming from the HBCU.
Right.
Once they realize their talent level, once they realize their skill level, once they realize their intelligence that they don't give them credit for, where they go now? Because they have the TV contracts, they have the gateway to be able to give them ability to be highly recruited for
Okay.
their next level if they want to go. If it's NFL, if it's doing broadcast, if it's doing whatever.
Okay.
So the HBCUs don't have that access, but that's where back in the day they pulled them from.
That's where they started.
Right.
But if
So
they
if
had
they go-
those
if-
top athletes,
If they have those top
That
athletes,
access
it'll
will come
change
that
the
way.
whole idea.
It's going to
of what's
change
going
the
on because they're
platform.
gonna-
Absolutely.
But
it's gonna change the narrative. Isn't that the
yeah,
new
but the
phrase?
narrative that we
these
don't
days?
understand that this country ain't created for us to be able to make it whole. Because that's a whole nother.
Thank you, Mr. Roland Render.
One more time. What was you say? Say that
Hey,
one
we're
more
not
time.
going to discriminate ladies. So
Okay.
do we have any ladies in here that would like to
Thank you.
discuss their opinion on some of this? Denise Brooks, how you doing back there, pretty lady?
Oh,
You know what?
Come on over here.
Jessica!
She don't want to.
Charlotte!
Hold on, let me ask this question. See, so do we have anybody in the audience who has a student athlete that's attending college? All right, come on in. All right, come on in.
Come on in.
All right,
Come on,
can you tell us
lovely Miss
what's your name?
Charlotte.
My name is Charlotte Thomas.
Hey, Charlotte, beautiful. All right, hey, Charlotte. So, what's your opinion about whether the athlete should be paid or not?
I absolutely think that they should. As a mother, a lot of these kids' decision is made upon their mothers.
Okay,
Whether or not their mother's struggling, whether or not they have other siblings that they have to take care of, a lot of their decisions are made upon that. If
That's a
the
great
school is
point.
getting so much money off my son's name,
correct.
why shouldn't he get a percentage off his jersey?
That's a great point.
That's
And that's
Something. So, two, either go back to his family.
right.
So, but one, he could not worry so much about his mother or his siblings. And for two, he might want to stay in college a little longer so he won't get drafted, be so hungry
Right, right.
to get drafted so early.
That's true. Yeah. And I don't blame a lot of the athletes nowadays because they're not making the income when they're in college. This is what really urges them to drop out of college and go on until the NFL or to the NBA.
Right.
Because there's just the financial
Gotta make that money to
opportunity
help
is
the
great.
family out. You are the
Absolutely.
breadwinner right now.
Financial burden, and some people don't realize that the kid might carry that burden.
They do.
Okay.
If they're the ones that the family is now,
Depending on
like praying, please make it, and you can save the entire family. I have a comment here from a college athlete who is a pro athlete right now. Says modern day slavery.
Modern day slavery,
And
yes.
that athletes
See the
should
cotton
get,
balls?
and athletes should get paid because what's the difference of a student that is getting their tuition paid through their scholarship but cannot still make extra money by getting a job? Most regular students actually make more than the athletes, even though we
It's not
bring
fair.
billions to the schools,
Wow.
but we cannot go out and get a job, but a regular student can go out and get a job to make extra money for themselves.
That's that pimping we talking about right there. Okay. Hey, Breezy, what you got, ma'am?
Toast to that.
Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out why do we keep depending on someone else to make us great? Why don't we own our own NFL teams? Why do we go from picking cotton balls to another type of football that they're still in control of? So
Amen.
why are we still asking for permission for our kids to go to these colleges? Why not create our own?
Well, there is.
I don't understand. We keep asking for permission. They're going to utilize you until you die and they die.
yes.
They're not going to allow you to get what they get because they need your strong legs to keep them going. Therefore, you have the HBCUs versus this. So then you have the big corporations that want to do business
that's
with
a
their
very
like kind.
Right.
They're not going to come down to the HBCU unless you control it. You can keep crying. You're going to keep picking these cotton balls. It don't matter what kind of ball
Yes,
you dribble.
yes.
Indirectly, you still picking cotton balls because they
Amen,
still
baby.
control the field.
And
There
so
you go.
have you buy your ball.
That's a good point.
All day, all day.
We can cry all we want to.
There actually is an NFL organization that I know some friends in the NFL that are actually trying to start their own NFL organization. So I'm not for sure exactly where that is right now, but they've been working on it for the past year.
No,
Colin
they want us to
Kaepernick
buy
thing.
in. They want us to buy in. They want our celebrities to buy in, but they will not give them any control.
Right.
Of course not.
They will not have
Isn't that
any
crazy?
control.
Will you
You
let me?
want my money,
Wait,
but I
wait,
don't
wait,
have no
wait.
say.
Let me ask you a question.
That's
Let me-
it.
Okay,
Hold on,
let me
this is
just
a
ask you a
question,
question like this. You have your own hair care line, right? Shalita, let me have your hair care line. Hell no. You're not going to give it to me.
Right.
Go create your own. Why are we still asking for your permission?
Yeah.
My son, the one got the fast legs, not
sorry.
your son. So
Exactly.
we don't understand what I don't know what to say. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a new day, and we are waking up, and we have got to change the narrative. I hate to continue to use that crappy little phrase because I hated it when I first heard it the first 5,000 times.
Okay.
But actually, we have got to start thinking. And like our topic is tonight about should these black athletes start going to these HBCUs. I think they should, because simply you start 2 or 3 of them go to this one HBCU.
Right.
Here comes the TV contract.
Exactly.
Here comes the other contracts that come on. Here comes all the people from all over the country coming to watch them play against this next school and that next school. And then you got these other highly recruited brothers or sisters going to this other HBCU. Now, here come them TV contracts over here, over here. We moving it. We moving that scale to where we need it to be. It's time to take control of our own stuff. Seriously, it's been time.
And stop being a sellout.
It's starting to change.
It allows for my kid to build his legacy early.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So those were some really good points. We really appreciate everybody's feedback.
We have a few comments. I know we haven't read any of them because.
Okay, the game is back on. Oh, hey.
Oh, is the game back on?
The
The
game
game
is
is
back
back
on.
on. We love you.
We love you. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We'll be
you for
coming live again
watching.
on next Monday. But until then, you gonna get a
Need a
lot
lot
of Hey, thank y'all so much for all your feedback, all your comments.
You hit in.
Who was this
Gotta hit
person?
finish. Dom.
Oh, your dog. Oh, that's so sweet. All right, Sonia, who got control of the people?